Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So I'm not sure if I am excited about this video, and that is because I'm actually going to be reviewing the brand new reformulated Dior Backstage Foundation for face and body. This is the original, this is the new one. I was actually sent this one and two other shades in PR, so I will be doing some swatches just so you can kind of see. And then I have a little bit of the original left. I have actually been doing some side-by-side wear testing to see, and I'm gonna put them both on my face. I'm not gonna be doing a wear test today because I have been doing wear testing, and I was actually a little surprised, but let's get into it now. Okay, so first off, this was not a holy grail for me. However, it was a favorite, but how I used it was probably different from what most people used it. I used this in combination with the Dior Air Flash, and this one I specifically was my Disney foundation theme park. If I needed makeup to last all day, I put this and I layered it with the Dior Air Flash, and I ran a half marathon and my makeup didn't budge, and it looked amazing. So I actually just recently wore this and wore it just like that because I stocked up on the Air Flash, but I wore it when I went to Disney back in June. So it's been a favorite, but I'm running low. It's almost gone. So I wore that. I wore this all week, but again, I wore it in combination with the Air Flash. So I've worn it a couple times on its own, but not very often. And this also shade is 2.5N. It is a little dark for me, but because usually when I go to Disney, I have a tan. So this is kind of like my tan shade, but I do really like it. I've worn it. So what I've been doing since I got these, and I got these probably a month ago, I have been kind of wearing them side by side. I wore this one on its own one day, and then I wore this one on its own one day. I didn't really notice a difference. So then I have done two side-by-side tests of wearing it. I actually did one earlier today, and I'll talk about it at the end, but I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison as well today, just so you can see when I apply it, how it looks on each side. And then I'll talk about what my results were and what I thought of the two foundations. So, but let's get into the shades. So again, this is 2.5N, and then I have the other two shades that I have are, I have 3N, and then I have 2.5W. So I think the 3N is gonna be too dark for me. Maybe it'll be good for me when I'm a little darker, but just probably not. The 2.5W might be a little too warm, but this shades, I will say, they are a little different. So I'll do a side-by-side comparison and you'll see they are a little bit different. Not that much of a difference, but it's not an exact match from the original. So 2.5, at least for me, 2.5N was a little different. Okay, and here are some swatches. So you see, now this is pretty heavy, but you'll see the first one is the original 2.5N. The second one is the new formulation of the 2.5N. So it is very similar, but it is a subtle difference. But if that is your shade, I don't think that's going to matter. Then there is the third one is the 2.5W. Honestly, I think that is going to be my best match, especially right now. I am going to wear the 2.5N today just because it's the one most closest, so I can do a side-by-side comparison. And then the last one is the 3N, and that one's just way too dark for me. That one's just going to be way too dark. I have a friend that I know can use that, and I will gift it to her, but otherwise it's just way too dark. I don't even think I could use that. I could probably make it work if I had a spray tan, but yeah, I'll probably just gift it to a friend. Okay, I also want to mention this foundation is $43, and on Sephora it states that it's a hydrating foundation that delivers buildable coverage for the face and body, resists heat and humidity, and leaves a luminous makeup look. And then again, it's been reformulated. So I guess the reformulation, I know they discontinued the Air Flash. I'm still looking for a replacement. I have videos coming, but they're trying to get to like talc free and more natural ingredients. So it says that this foundation is formulated with 94% natural Orient ingredients and hyaluronic acid. It delivers intense hydration and a second skin sensation. It says it provides buildable coverage, all of that. So I will say right off the bat, I don't see much of a difference. It is, I don't see much of a difference, and I'll apply it right now and you'll see. But I will say that my experience with the original was more, I was building it to last. So I would do a light dusting of powder on my face, I would do primer, and then I would also use the air flash. So that was kind of the layer that I did to get my makeup to last in the hot, humid sun and humidity when I was going to theme parks. So obviously I don't think everybody uses it that way, so I'm trying to test it. But in doing a side-by-side comparison, I've done it 2 days. Not much. I have some video, I will show that at the end, but I'll do a side-by-side comparison right now. But my understanding is that they're basically reformulating it so that it's more natural. I don't buy that. I think it's a gimmick, but I get it. So, you know, it is what it is, but we're gonna try it. So I am going to put the original on this side of the face because that was what I was doing in my other tests, and the one that I have on the video will be the same thing. So this side of the face will be the original, and then this side of this face will be the new formula. Again, I think the 2.5W is a better match for me. However, today I'm going to be using the 2.5N because that is the one I have and in the original. So I want to do a side-by-side comparison so it's the same shade. Then also I will say this is more of my tan shade. It's like a little bit, it is more neutral, but the warm, the 2.5W is just a little bit lighter, which is kind of why it works. And then I'm kind of neutral leaning warm, if that makes sense. But anyway, about me, if you're what my skin type is, that I am 47 years old and my skin type is combination. Sometimes my face can get really dry because I use like tretinoin and I use products and I do some peels, and sometimes when I do that my face can get really dry. However, for the most part my face is combination. I tend to get oily in the T-zone, so that was where I was using the Dior Air Flash because that stuff, it just didn't budge. And this with the Dior Air Flash was like, that was my holy grail. But it is gone. Whole Air Flash, may it rest in peace. So let's get to the application. Okay, so for both, I'm going to be using my Anissa Pinnacle foundation brush. I love this brush for foundation, and I'm gonna apply it, and then I usually go over with a sponge. But for this foundation, I do like applying it with a brush. I'm also not wearing any primer, didn't put any powder. I just have put my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. So I'm just going to apply it as so, and try and do it as much as down the middle as I possibly can so I can do a good side-by-side comparison. Okay, so that is the half of the face with the original. Now I know some people were saying that the original like blurred their pores. Mine, it didn't blur my pores. What blurs my pores is if I put a primer like the Tarte, whatever it is, that smoothing primer that is amazing. That's what will fill it in. Now it doesn't necessarily emphasize my pores, but I never had that experience. So I am using this with no primer. I will go in with powder, and but I did not put any specific primer. I just used my typical Magic Cream, and I'm going over with my sponge, just kind of layering a little bit, and that is it. So that is the original, which you can't get anymore. So now we'll go in with the new formulation. Okay, as I placed it, the new one, on my palette, the first thing I noticed was this one's a little thicker. Not a lot, but just a tad bit thicker. Now this one I've had for a while. This one has been around for a while. It's probably expired, to be honest, but this one is I don't think that would change the consistency, and I don't think it would make it more watery. It's a tad bit watery, so this one does have a little bit of a thicker consistency. Now it is a medium coverage. For me, I'm gonna like that, but for somebody else, they may not like that. So again, just that was the first thing when I applied it, because as I've been applying it, Actually this morning I applied it in my car on my hand because my son had hockey practice at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I did it in my car so I could do a wear test, and I obviously didn't really think about the consistency, but that was the first thing I noticed right now as I applied it on the palette. So I'm gonna apply it to the side of the face just like I did the other side. Okay, so there I'm finishing up with the brush. I'm gonna go back in with the sponge and do what I just did on the other side as well. Just kind of take a little bit, whatever's left on the little palette here, and just kind of layer it a little bit to give me just a tad bit more coverage. And that is one of the things I like about this foundation, both the original and the reformulation, is that it is very buildable. You're not gonna get a full coverage, but you're gonna get more of a medium coverage. And I also feel like when you layer it a little bit, just kind of do 2 light layers, you're going to get it to last a little bit longer, especially in the heat and you know, Florida sun, humidity, sweat proof. Now I don't think I've ever worked out with it, but you know, being in a theme park is pretty much a workout. So there you go. So this is, I'll do a side by side right now. Okay, so this half is the original and this half is the new formulation. To be honest, I don't really see much of a difference. And if I see any difference, is that I actually like the new side just a little bit more. But that's if I really, really look at it and I really kind of, it layers a little bit better. It also feels a little bit less light. It feels more lightweight, I would say. I feel the side a tad bit, and that's the one thing I have noticed having worn it for 2 days side by side, is that the side that I wore the original started to feel drier, where I felt like I needed to spray that side of the face with some sort of hydration mist, where this side I didn't really need to feel, didn't need to do that. Whereas I don't know if you've ever, like when you're wearing foundation, you kind of feel like your skin starts to get tight. Basically your skin is taking the moisture out of your foundation. That's what I felt. And I felt like this side of the face was starting to get dry, where I didn't feel that on this side, which I was really surprised. And that was one of the reasons why I did it twice, where I wore it side by side, because I felt like, wow, okay. And then it really was different. So, but as far as wear and initial look, I don't see a difference. And I'm, again, not wearing primer. I am going to set it. As far as like luminosity, if I was being very picky, I would say the new side is just a tad bit more luminous, but once I powder it, that's going to be gone. Now I did wear it today, earlier today. I wore it for 6 hours with no primer. I'm sorry, no primer, no powder. I just put you know, just exactly what I did today. I put the Magic Cream Light, and then I put the foundation, same side, and then I didn't even powder. So I just put mascara and I was gone. So, and pretty much the same thing. So I am going to do a little bit more makeup and then come back. Okay, so I am back, and I just basically put on everything except eye makeup because I'm going to be filming a video after this, reviewing an eyeshadow palette, so I did not put any eye makeup on except my brows. So I think if you look up close, you can see that there's really no difference. I can't see a difference. Once I powder, once I put on my, you know, bronzer and blush, I don't see any difference. So as far as longevity, I will say, so here is video of right after I put it on this morning. This was at a little after 8 a.m. This is in my car. I just put it on with a makeup sponge, and same side, the left side of my face is the one with the old version, and the right side of my face is the newer version. And I didn't see a difference. And then fast forward to, this is at 2 o'clock. So this is about 6 hours later. I also had gone ice skating, so I had been wearing a hat. So I think it had come off a little bit on my forehead, but not really. It actually didn't come off on my forehead too much, which I was really surprised. But it broke down evenly, that's what I would say. And the side, the new reformulated side, lasted just a little bit longer. It looked like it held up just a tad bit better. But again, if I really was doing, you know, if I didn't know I was wearing two different, you know, formulas of a foundation, I wouldn't have noticed a difference. It's very different. Now, if this was your holy grail, and this is the old one, if this was your holy grail, then you may not be happy with it. But for me, I don't see that much of a difference. Now, I did watch Stephanie Marie's recap. She did a video of her favorites and stuff, and she doesn't like the new formula. She said she noticed a difference right away, and it broke her out after several days. Now, I wore it several days. I haven't had any reaction. You can see I've had no reaction to it. And I would say the only difference I see is that it's a little thicker, but once applied, I don't see a difference. So I don't know, you know, everybody's going to be different. My skin is combination. So I don't know. For me, I think it's actually a little bit better, to be honest. Again, I will probably still use it when I, you know, still use it the same way I did with the air flash. I still have a bottle that is brand new, so hopefully it'll last me. So hopefully that's how I will continue to use it. But I will probably start using this now that I've used it and I've been trying it out as a kind of a medium lightweight foundation. I really like it. So I'm probably going to be wearing it a little bit more often as a lightweight medium coverage foundation, because it feels great on the skin, and it does last. I mean, I always powder, I always set my foundation, and it lasted good 6 hours, you know, very, very well with no primer and no powder. That's amazing. So, and they both did. I just never used it that way, but I think it's great. $43 is the new price. I don't know. I don't remember what this price. I think it was $40. Now it's $43. But I think it's fantastic. So let me know in the comments below. But I would say if your shade was, you know, if you're unsure about your shade, I would go in and test it. The shades are just a tad bit different, at least the 2.5N, but it's very similar. Obviously, I don't think you can tell on my face right now, but for me, the 2.5W, I think it's going to be a better match for me right now. But otherwise, I think it's great. I like the new formula. I have no complaints. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.